You're just handsome as hell. I know, dude. We all see it.
I love your new album, Oz.
Thank you.
It kicks ass.
Thank you,
I
man.
love it.
I have a guest on with me, and this person in particular, he began making music since the age of 12 when he picked up a guitar. Then during high school, he played drums during the night. He has played in a wide array of music, every style and every kind of venue. He has worked with legendary artists for the PBS American soundtrack and My Music series. He produces in a multi-room recording studio, and he is the owner of Redmedicinerecording Studio. Sean McDonald.
Hey man, how you doing?
I am doing really good. I just put out an album that I produced myself called Time Travelers. It has 10 tracks on it, and every song is different. And I've been showing different people that, and everyone says they love it.
It's fantastic.
So my first question to you is this. What was it like working with the Clarks?
Clarks are great guys. Number one, they, couldn't be nicer people. So that always makes the job easier. They're all creative people. Scott and Rob write a lot of the songs, but Scott and Greg write a lot of the songs, and Rob and Dave contribute quite a bit as well. So it's a lot of guys, throwing in ideas and you come up with whatever it's been now, 30 some years of music. So yeah, it was a blast working with those guys.
How did you get in contact with them?
I don't recall. It's been many, many decades. I did a record for a band called Grapevine, which is my brother's band, back in the late 90s. And those guys would play a lot of shows with the Clarks, and we kind of knew each other from just shows and the music scene. And maybe they heard that record and then came to me, and I did one song for them. It was a cover of the Bruce Springsteen song called The River.
All right.
Kind of did our take on it, a little different version. And I think that was the first thing I produced for them. And then we did a full-length record called Restless Days, and then one called Feathers and Bones. And then we did a live record. Then we did a cover record. I think we've worked together probably 10 years, maybe 15 years on different projects over the years.
Sweet. Since you mentioned your brother, Kevin McDonald.
Yeah.
I want everybody to vote for him. Vote for Main Street Music and Sound as the best music store category of the Tribune Review Readers Poll.
Yeah, they're good people out there. They're very good people. Thank you for that.
I'll put
very
a link
good
below
people out there. Thank you.
For your studio as well, and obviously a link for my marvelous album. We'll link. And you worked with Little Richard too.
Yeah, I do a lot of work with PBS for the last 20 years. There's a couple different series that I do for PBS, and Little Richard was one of the artists, and it was fantastic. It was,
that's cool, man.
One of the highlights of my career, recording and mixing him. And he was, funny story about him, they walked him into the show, and I didn't think he was ever going to perform because it was two guys, and he kind of was just walking in like an old man.
Right.
But came showtime, it was like he was
Changed.
20 years old again. It was fantastic. Yeah.
That's cool,
very
man.
cool.
That's really cool. What got you into producing music?
As you mentioned, I've been playing music since I was a little kid, and
Yeah.
I had a lot of recording experiences, some of them good, some of them not so good. And, when the recording equipment started to get a little cheaper in the 90s and the early 2000s, me and a partner started buying some stuff, and we just started making our own records, and it was terrible at first, and it got better and better and better. And again, now 20 some years later, hopefully it's a little better than when we started. Yeah.
No, I was just listening to some of your samples. They do sound very well. In my opinion, I like the way that they sound. They sound produced nicely. It's very tasteful to the ear, and you can hear the instruments in a manner that is pleasant, very pleasant.
Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I've only been producing for maybe 2.5, 3 years, and it's crazy how you learn as you go, and I believe that with producing, from my knowledge, that you can get good at it kind of quick if you spend lots of time on it and you're smart about your work. It's the same like with anything, like with writing a song. Somebody that I think writes a song, if they don't write music and you don't write music at all, chances are you're not going to be that good unless you keep doing it over and over and you figure out different ways to write better songs. So in my experience with even writing songs, like I've written so many songs that the first few that I've written were not good. Any really good artist who writes their first few songs are not generally good unless they're in a band with amazing musicians who already write really good songs and they can give that person ideas.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get good at it, man. I've been doing it. I've been writing, for 30 years and producing records for, 20 some. And my motto is sucking less each day.
Yeah.
Every day I try to get better at something. I don't think I've mastered it by any means. I just try to keep getting better at it, just keep improving every day, trying to make the records better than I did the day before.
Yeah, definitely. One producer that I studied a little bit of, I'd say maybe last year, near the end of last year, is Rick Rubin. And I remember maybe almost 2 years ago, I looked into like some of the way that he pans music, and I thought it was like really stupid at first. I'm like, why does he pan straight up, left, and right? And then I just played around. Like that's one technique out of thousands of ways you can mix a song. But I played around with that specific technique after I was like, why would you do that? And then I played around with it and I was like, ooh, I kind of like that, just that one style. And I noticed when I did that specifically, I could hear it, boom, it comes out of the side right away, or this side right away, or it just comes in the front. And I've been doing that as my mixing style lately in relation to panning. And I know, there's thousands of ways you could do it, but I like that way in particular because it just kind of pops out at you. So that's one thing that I've been playing around with. And then one thing I used to always do is when I would record, I don't know how you do it particularly, but I would always do like mono tracks in the particular system that I use. And I noticed if I double them and always have stereo, it just sounds so much better for me whenever I'm doing it. And that took me a while to even figure those kinds of things out for my style of music.
Cool. Yeah, stereo recording is one way of doing it where there are two different recordings. Like your ears are hearing things slightly different, your left from your right, even though it's one thing. Like a singer, your right ear is going to hear it slightly different than your left ear.
Yeah.
That's stereo recording. If you put one microphone up, it's kind of a sum of those two. So yeah, two different techniques, and both are valuable when making records for sure. Yeah.
What made you want to? I mean, we obviously talked about you're 12 and you play guitar and you play drums.
Yeah.
What are the other reasons like that you got into making a studio in Pittsburgh?
Well, like I said, I made a lot of records, and some of those experiences were really positive and some of them were negative.
Right.
So when we put this place together, there was certain things that I wanted to kind of change or do differently than or continue on the good experiences or change from the bad experiences.
Yeah.
Like things like headphone mixes. When you're playing, most people aren't used to playing music with headphones on.
Yeah.
At least back then they weren't. So I had a bad experience in the studio where we had 5 guys in the band and we had everybody listen to the same kind of balance in the headphone mix, the same blend of instruments. So when we
Gotcha.
put this place together, I said, hey man, I want it so everybody's going to be able to, this guy wants to hear the saxophone loud, this guy wants to hear the timpani loud, everybody wants to hear things differently. So when I put this together, I made sure everyone, we had enough headphone mixes that we could try to make it feel the way that each individual person wanted to make it feel. The other thing that I did was, as a young drummer at the time, you had this, glass thing and everyone was back here judging you as you're over here trying to make music, and that can be a little daunting, a little soul crushing, especially if you're an insecure musician.
Right.
So my space here, There's no wall up. I mean, I do have a booth in the back for people that want to be kind of sequestered and don't want to be looked at, or, kind of in their own little private world. But for the most part, the room here is one big room where everybody's kind of communicating. So when you're done with the take, there's no, everybody kind of whispering behind the glass of how it was. We're
Right.
all talking like you'd be in a game room. I'd like to think of it as a very acoustically well-designed space with, the best gear you can get, but like a game room, the best sounding, best equipped game room you can get. So those were some of the things when I put the studio together. I wanted for it to be emotionally kind of fun to be in, musically kind of inspiring to play in. That's coming from, again, good experiences and bad experiences. I had a cool mentor, a guy that produced some of my early records, a guy named Toby Wright. Toby was producer, Bullet Boys and Korn. I think he worked on a couple of Metallica records. He was Alice in Chains. He did some of those big records. And he was a guy, when I started, I picked his brain. Dude, what do I need to buy? What should I do? And he was pretty helpful in, buy this, 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 this. And he was very, very helpful in me kind of getting up to speed with the gear stuff. And it was invaluable to have him as somebody that I could, call. I think it was even before email, man. I think we talked on the phone back then. So I
Yeah.
try to pass that down with people that are, starting studios. I try to, offer that same assistance as well.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool. I see also you have Fender guitars too. I love Fenders. I have a Stratocaster in the other room.
Yeah, I'm a fan of guitars here. We've got, maybe 20 different guitars, all different flavors, like crayons. When you go to, make your picture, you like to pick up different colors and try different things, guitars and drums and amplifiers and everything here. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I'd like to maybe check out that studio sometime, come see it. I'm
Sure, man. If you're in a neighborhood, drop a line. We'll do a little tour for you.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, that would be awesome, man.
All
I'll
right.
put the link down to your studio, link down to so everyone can vote for your brother as well. And
Fantastic.
and link to my new album, so everyone can listen. And I will talk to you later.
Take care, my friend.